There are two news agencies with offices overlooking the KHLONG TOEI communities, and I often wonder to myself, while these news agencies are pumping out this idea every day that we're such a prosperous nation with a big bright future and a modern outlook, and how everyone should be proud and eternally grateful for that, do they ever look out their windows down at these communities and think to themselves, well, maybe things aren't as perfect as we claim they are? I think they're embarrassed by it. Here's an example. 2003, they held the Asia Pacific Economic Conference. All the world's leaders were visiting Bangkok, and these delegates from around the world were having a riverboat trip along the Chao Phraya River. And what they did was they erected this great big barrier, this banner, in front of the Ta Tien riverside communities. They live in shacks right on the riverside, and it was to hide them basically. And they also had restrictions in place around Bangkok where you couldn't hang your clothes out on your balcony. Why would they do that? Well, your guess is as good as mine.
This is Thailand, huh? Whole house just burned down and she's coming to bring us water. This is amazing.
So Friso, this happened last night, right?
This happened last night, yeah, around 8:30 p.m. Yes. A dispute between a husband and a wife. Husband came into the house with bottles filled with gasoline. Started pouring it on the floors and just lit the whole place on fire. So that is obviously very scary, and this is the result. We have one house, well, basically completely gone, two more houses severely affected, and 15 people displaced overnight, and they're just staying here at the school right now, and this is the situation. You see, they're salvaging what still can be salvaged. Of course, besides fire damage, there's a lot of water damage usually too.
Yeah, we went upstairs and had a look at the real serious damage.
Yes.
I mean, this structure is pretty fragile now.
Yeah, it's all wood. I mean, it's a mix of, wood and metal structure in some cases. But yeah, this burns so quickly. And this is very common in communities like this, that once it burns, it goes quick, it goes fast. In this case, it's only one house, which is almost like it's for a fire in a community. It's on the lower side. Luckily, behind here is a huge Shell depot of gasoline, and they have proper fire extinguishers, water guns to shoot. So they were able to put it out. So
that's a saving grace, isn't it?
They were
very close.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Also, if a fire spreads and it goes towards there, we lose like half of Bangkok in one go. So luckily no one died, no one injured. Only the person that actually made the fire happen.
He got injured.
Got beaten so much that he is in the hospital now. So.
Who beat him?
Everybody. Police, people here. Yeah, they found out very quickly it was him, and they were just punching him a bit too much. Yeah, but in the end,
it happens.
He's the culprit. So
the families that were here, they've been moved to accommodation at the temple.
Yes, so the temple school is right here. So they're staying at the temple grounds now, basically, until we can figure out what to do with these houses. Can we rebuild them? Who's going to rebuild them? Obviously, the Bangkok government needs to come in to also, assess the situation properly. Police needs to be here, do like a proper report. But I think this one is very clear because it's clear what happened.
Yeah.
Many cases it's very unclear. It can be electricity problem, a lot of copper melting machines that they forget to turn off that burn down, cigarettes, all this kind of thing. In this case, it's clear. For us as a foundation, it's also a reminder again to do more in fire prevention in the next year. So this is also very clear for us. Yeah. More fire extinguishers in communities, more fire training, more equipment for the firefighter volunteers. All of these things we need to do much more. We have done a lot in the past already, but we need to turn that up a notch. So we will need your support for these kind of things, but 100% sure you will see more of this in the coming year. So.
Yeah, all right, thanks for
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Appreciate it.
So how dangerous are these neighbourhoods? I got asked that quite a lot after I did my first video. Did I fear for my safety? Did I fear for my equipment? Did I come across any hostility, or did anyone ask me what the hell was I doing in their neighbourhood? The answer to that is no. Not once did I think I was ever going to get mugged or stabbed around here. And I'm certainly not one of those YouTubers who's going to claim that this is Bangkok's most dangerous neighbourhood just to get clicks. Common questions I got asked after doing my first video around here back in May were things like, why don't the government end poverty? It's not like they haven't got the money to demolish these types of areas and build these people new housing. Another question was, how come you don't see many Thai or Buddhist foundations and groups? Shouldn't they be helping out their own people? And why is it mostly foreign-based organisations that are seen to be doing the most work for the people in these communities? Well, I'm going to try and answer those questions as simply as I can. The reason why the foreign-based organisations such as Bangkok Community Help Foundation are more visible is because they can be more active on social media, and in the expat communities they can gather help from a much bigger pool of resources. There are lots of Thai individuals, families, businesses and companies that give money to these organisations and groups to help out the people in these communities. When these areas are eventually redeveloped, the Port Authority of Thailand and the State Railway of Thailand will be obligated to rehouse these people or offer them compensation. Then there's the issue of breaking up a very strong community spirit that has grown through the decades. There are generations of people who have lived and grown up around here, and putting them in tower blocks or moving them to different parts of Bangkok will break up that community spirit. So many residents prefer to live in places like this, and when the time comes to move on, they'll deal with it, and that time could be 5, 10 or 15 years away.
This was our first project, and I felt, and still do, so proud, because it's something like, it's so peaceful here. It's a pocket park, as they would have in London, and it's brilliant versus, obviously, this.
So did people stop dumping garbage straight away?
Yeah, I mean, once we built it, then they no longer put the garbage here, you know. I don't know what they did, but all I know is it's a huge project. And this school right here, the kids walking home, around 300 kids, they would be having to walk by it.
Jeez.
So, yeah. And this was an open sewer, so when motorcycles are going down the sidewalk, they would slip and fall in the sewer, so we closed that up. And so then the idea was also, you see in the UK, where people put things in memory, you know, like little themes and stuff like that. So the idea is to do that as well. So, hey, if somebody wants to do something as far as to donate some money, they're welcome to put a plaque up here. I think it would be pretty nice, right, to remember someone. And then it helps out the community as well.
The Lock 456 community was built on top of a swamp in the early 1960s, and as the community grew through the decades and more houses got built, this swamp turned into a lake which is still underneath all the houses today. Now the water in this lake is starting to become a bit of a problem. There are high levels of E. coli thanks to a very primitive sewage system and lots of pollution and garbage. But there is an organic solution currently in the testing phase, and I'm going to meet with Greg from the Bangkok Community Health Foundation, and he's going to talk us through the process.
So underneath every house, you'll see this sludge or this water because it's basically built on a lake, right? The E. coli numbers are off the roof. Basically, under 88 is what you're supposed to do per 100 particles. You know, let's say that it floods and the kids needed to wade through the water. It should be less than 88 particles, but here it's 520,000. The coliforms are 2,400,000. So the problem is that we're putting in good bacteria to fight off that bad bacteria. But what is E. coli and coliforms? It's basically poo, right? So some of the houses are wired wrong. They don't have where it normally goes into a big sewer pipe and goes outside the city, right? If that was done as far as the infrastructure, then we'd have a fighting chance. As it is, there's some areas that we're able to clean up, but not all, because it's constantly flowing of the toilets flushing.
This good bacteria you're putting in, what's it called?
It's called EM. It's from Japan. Our vision was to clean this up as much as we possibly can. We're still doing that, but yeah, it's difficult. We must have put 1,000 balls here. And I'm seeing bubbles, which is hopefully good sign. This is where they took the samples, and it was 2,400,000 coliforms. That was 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we pumped a lot of money into this project to do the test to see if we could improve the quality.
What kind of time frame in the long run are you thinking?
Well, let's see what the results are. And then if it's working, then we're going to ask for donations, to try to improve it, because we did get district approval to do this project, and if the people don't try to help others, then it'll never happen, right? So it's going to take a while to clean it up, I guess.
Well, last time I was here, it was the run-up to the election, and this community had just got this bridge fixed up across the canal here, and they'd also been promised a few other improvements. Here we are 8 months later, and there's definitely a couple of construction projects going on. The garbage control department have also been very busy on this part of the canal, and they're building a barrier along the edge of the bank of the canal, and I think that's to stop the garbage from going out into the water, and this garbage gets thrown out of the houses along the edge of the canal. Why they do that, well, your guess is as good as mine. There's probably a combination of reasons for that happening, and there are a few gaps in this wooden barrier, and I think that is so the monitor lizards can go up under the houses and catch the rats that go for the garbage. These trees between the road and the canal were put up to hide the slum community along the opposite edge of the canal. I know it sounds pretty ruthless to you and me, but one day I think things will definitely improve around here. Klong Toei is both the richest and the poorest district in the city. And every time they open up another fancy designer shopping mall, the inequality and wealth gap gets more and more obvious. Around the back of these shopping malls, you'll find people living in poverty, scraping by on a minimum wage, so minimal that it's embarrassing. Some of you may argue and say, well, it's only 8 baht to ride the bus, or it's only 20 baht to eat a pad thai on the street, and that these malls provide jobs for local people. But I'd safely bet that any job application from someone with an address in a place like this would just get ignored. I haven't seen the stats, so I'd love to be proved wrong. But one thing's for sure, the wealth gap in this country probably won't change in my lifetime. ชื่ออะไรครับ
สุรวัตรกับสมบูรณ์ครับนิกเนมนนท์ก็ในบทบาทของผู้นำนะครับในพื้นที่ชุมชนล็อก456นะครับก็ดูแลทั่วไปไม่ว่าจะเป็นบำบัดทุกข์บำรุงสุขให้กับพี่น้องนะครับชาวชุมชนนะครับอาทิเช่นเกิดพี่น้องการเจ็บป่วยเราก็ได้ประสานรถพยาบาลบ้านนี้ต้องการความช่วยเหลือเราก็ต้องคอยไปประสานว่าช่วยเหลือในลักษณะแบบไหนอย่างไรเพื่อให้แบ่งเบาความทุกข์ของลูกบ้านนะครับแล้วก็ที่สำคัญในการพัฒนาพื้นที่นะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นพื้นที่โดยชุมชนพื้นที่ที่ทำการพื้นที่รอบชุมชนให้ตอบรับนะครับกับการพัฒนาในระดับสากลไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องการปรับปรุงภูมิทัศน์การปรับปรุงพื้นที่ชุมชนการประสานเรื่องสาธารณสุขนะครับแล้วก็นำคลินิกนะครับลงพื้นที่ชุมชนเพื่อให้พี่น้องนั้นลดค่าใช้จ่ายในการเดินทางแล้วก็ที่สำคัญก็นะครับให้พี่น้องนั้นได้รับสิทธิ์ของรัฐบาลในการรักษาอย่างทั่วถึงครับครับก็สำหรับมูลที่ Bangkok Community Health นะครับได้สนับสนุนเกี่ยวกับระบบทาสีของที่ทำการชุมชนล็อก456แล้วก็ที่สำคัญในโดมลานกีฬาของชุมชนลานที่2เดี๋ยวเราเชิญเข้าไปดูครับครับก็นี่นะครับจะเป็นลานกีฬาลานที่2ของชุมชนล็อก456แล้วก็ที่สำคัญนะครับในช่วงการแพร่ระบาดของโควิดนะครับพื้นที่นี้รับผู้ป่วยจำนวนกว่า100 เตียงนะครับในพื้นที่นี้นะครับก็ได้รับการสนับสนุนเป็นอย่างดีจาก Bangkok Community Health เสมอมาแล้วก็ปรับปรุงในด้านต่างๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นการเกี่ยวกับห้องน้ำนะครับที่ทำการนะครับแล้วก็สาธารณสุขประโยชน์นะครับเพื่อนะครับพี่น้องในชุมชนคลองเตยนะครับแล้วก็พี่น้องในชุมชนล็อก456นะครับก็นะครับสามารถเชิญชมได้เลยครับผมก็ทางมูลที่ Bangkok Community Health ก็ได้รับการสนับสนุนอย่างต่อเนื่องกับชุมชนเป็นสิ่งที่ดีแล้วก็ในนามของคณะกรรมการชุมชนล็อก456ขอขอบคุณทางมูลที่ Bangkok Community Health เป็นอย่างสูงที่ตลอดระยะเวลา 4-5 ปีที่ผ่านมาในการเข้าพื้นที่ชุมชนแล้วก็พัฒนาชุมชนอย่างต่อเนื่องควบคู่กับการบริหารของชุมชนแล้วก็พื้นที่ในไม่ว่าจะเป็นเขตคลองเตยหรือเขตวัฒนาทางมูลที่ Bangkok Community Health ก็ได้รับการสนับสนุนอย่างต่อเนื่องเหมือนกันครับสวยไหม so good ขอบคุณครับ yeah
สวัสดีครับ Greg, this was a huge project. I saw some of it ongoing when I was here last time. This looks brand new.
Yes. So what happened was, if we go all the way back in 1970, this used to be a big garbage dump. The community would put their garbage here. And then someone had an idea, hey, we don't have a school for the kids. So they took the garbage out and they built a school. So this school is around 50 years old. But because it didn't have the infrastructure that it's need to be registered, it always was an unregistered school. And so now it's just a nursery school for a number of kids, but it's treated for the community, right? So the last 30 years, there was a football court here, and it was big potholes, and it was in really, really bad condition. So 250,000 baht was raised, and a brand new football court was made, and also basketball. And they just had a tournament this last weekend. It was quite exciting. The whole community came out, and it was brilliant.
Friso, 10,000 gifts for 10,000 kids. You had 10,000?
10,000 gifts, actually more than that, yeah. But the goal of this year was, okay, we surprised 10,000 kids from lower income communities with a holiday gift. And yeah, we hit the goal, we did it. Big smiles, of course, everywhere. So it was the most beautiful Christmas we could ever wish for. So it was really, really fun and really like a community effort of Bangkok, the whole world coming together and saying, okay, we want these kids to have a happy time. A lot of these kids do not get anything, obviously. So it was really, really also good to see that it's possible.
So this school, they got the new football, basketball pitch.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing to see that.
And then here behind us, obviously this doesn't look like much yet, but very soon this will have a 2-story community library, and this we're doing together with Global Travel Mate, another a good friend of yours,
Another legend.
famous YouTuber, a absolute legend. And this will be a community library.
So anyone can come.
Anyone can
And
come
use
here,
this.
to gather information, use computers that we will have there. It will be just a meeting ground for people to share knowledge. We're growing as a foundation. We have so many people that come and join us, and it's beautiful, really. It's just getting bigger, better, and in that way we can help more people, so it's great.
Brilliant. Friso, Happy New Year.
Thank you so much for
Cheers,
all the
mate.
support. Happy New Year, and see you in the next one.
There's a lot of prejudice against people living in these communities, and certain sectors of society here have claimed that people living like this deserve it due to karma, social status, colour of their skin. You know how it goes here. People want to believe that their most ignorant and negative assumptions of these people are true. They want to believe that these areas are rife with social problems such as domestic violence, alcoholism, drug addiction, crime and unemployment. But I've walked around these areas extensively now. I've spoken to a couple of community leaders, and I will stick my neck out and say that the social problems that I mentioned are no worse here than they are in other communities and social classes anywhere else. There are no zombies stumbling around high on drink and drugs in broad daylight like you see in certain cities in certain first world countries. But there is one thing that these communities around here have in common, and that is low income and poverty. So there we are, another trip down to KHLONG TOEI. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it exciting and educational. Please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you want to support me and support the channel, you can do so via the Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen, or you can join the channel and become a member. That just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.